Welcome to the pre-application conference for an accessory living area, which requires the admin special review process. My name is Laura.
And I'm Jared.
And we're here to walk you through everything. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your planner after the video is over. The purpose of today's pre-application meeting is to provide an overview of the Larimer County Administrative Special Review process and inform you of the submittal materials required for an accessory living area, which we also call an ALA.
So customer responsibilities. The submittal requirements listed in this packet are intended to collect all of the information required for the Larimer County staff to review your application, as well as internal and external agencies. In the event you are unfamiliar with any of the submittal items or requirements or need additional assistance, it is recommended that you would seek the help of a third-party consultant. They'll be able to provide more insight and help you along with your process. We review your proposal, but we do not markedly create the project with you. The role of the planner in the assigned case is to assist you throughout that application process. And there is no guarantees that your application will be approved. No refunds are granted for any denials through a Board of County Commissioners nor administrative decision.
So an accessory living area is a finished habitable space attached to or part of a single family dwelling or a detached building that is intended and designed to be occupied as a separate living unit than that of the primary single-family dwelling and clearly accessory to the single-family dwelling on the lot. Just a reminder that ALAs shall not be utilized as short-term rentals.
Occupancy standards. The accessory living area may be occupied by one additional living unit, separate from that of the principal dwelling. The definition of a living unit is provided to you here below and is defined as one family plus up to two additional individuals of whose place of residence is with the family in the dwelling unit. And then just to reiterate as well, the lodging facilities are prohibited within accessory living areas or ALAs. They shall not be rented for 30 days or less as short-term rental units.
So one accessory living area is permitted per lot. The total square footage of the accessory living area should comply with the standards in the table below. And this is categorized by lot size. And you want to make sure that you're taking the lesser of the two on the right-hand side. And just keep in mind, the total square footage of the single-family dwelling will exclude any basement areas, whether they're finished or not, whenever you're calculating that size. And we have more information on this in the packet. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask your planner about how to calculate this size.
So this is an overview of our process here. Generally, you're in the pre-application conference stage right now. This is required before you're able to submit your application to ensure that you understand the items for submittal. Next up would be your submitting of those documents to our CERT team, our administrative team that helps us quite a lot with these applications. They'll review your application for completeness and then get it turned into a formal case after fees have been collected. Then we have staff review. That would include internal and external agencies, as well as your planner requiring any possible revisions to your application should it not meet our land use code criteria. This could either be approved by an administrative or a board decision, and that'll depend upon neighborhood input, any appeals required in your process, and then further details that your planner can elaborate on going into your application. There would be a final review and decision coming from that, either by the director or by our Board of County Commissioners, and then post-decision actions would include things like building permitting.
Per section 3.4.5A, an accessory living area in a detached building or in a portion of a residence that is attached with no direct access from the primary residence is subject to review and approval through the administrative special review process, which is outlined in section 643D. Building permit applications for accessory living areas are subject to all applicable impact fees, including transportation capital expansion fees, which we will expand on in a bit.
So these are our site standards for an ALA. I'll read them off one by one, but we're looking for these in the bulk of your application. that the single-family character of the property is to be maintained through this administrative process, that one additional off-street parking space shall be provided for this accessory living area, and that if the accessory living area is located in a detached building, to the maximum extent practicable, it'll be located within 300 foot of the primary residence on site.
And then this is our general review criteria from the land use code for administrative special review. Feel free to read through this, and if you have any questions, you can contact your planner. But we'll be looking at this whenever we review your application to ensure that you're meeting these standards.
So the director may approve an accessory living area in an existing structure that exceeds the maximum total area requirement as shown in the table 3-15. That is within our land use code, as well as the one that Laura had alluded to earlier. The living area is clearly incidental to the principal dwelling and meets one or more of the following criteria that you can review yourself. And if you have any further questions about, you can ask your planner to help summarize the meanings of these land use code standards.
So if you cannot meet our land use code requirements, an appeal to the Board of County Commissioners may be required, which we charge an additional $267 fee, and you would be required to go to a public hearing, and those occur every other Monday, roughly around 3 p.m. And if this is needed, please ask your planner for more details, and be sure to include your appeal request within your application.
So now we're getting into the bulk of the presentation. This is all of the submittal requirements that you would be required to fulfill in this application type. First off is the application form. This is the land use application. We require one copy of this with owner signed signatures there at the bottom. It's going to require relevant information like your contact information, your cell phone, email, as well as the address for each of the applicants. If you're utilizing a surveyor or engineer in this process, you'll want to list their contact information and applicable company there below as well. And any parcel numbers in this request would also be required to be listed on this application form.
Next up is the application fee. The planning submittal fee is $891. If you are appealing something to the Board of County Commissioners, that additional $267 will apply. And we just want you to keep in mind that these fees are subject to change on July 1st of each year. So if you wait to apply, just be sure to check in with us and see if this fee has changed or if any of our submittal requirements have changed. And also, we want you to know that this fee is based on process and it's not based on the size or the cost of the proposed project. And we take this fee from noticing, public hearing, and the staff time required to process your application.
So as alluded to before, there are transportation capital expansion fees that may be applicable in your process. They would be required at the building permitting stage for any new residential structures. Please note that this fee is not due until after you've completed this planning process, and it will not be listed in your packet. Engineering will be able to provide you more insight on this fee schedule and what would be due at that time of building permit issuance.
Then number 4 is the ALA information form. This is a 4-page form that kind of gives us some background information on your request. And be sure to submit all 4 pages as one document. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, but it should just give you some information on the review criteria as well as you inputting the size you're requesting in relation to your single family home size.
Next up is the site plan requirement, and we have a pretty good example of what these are intended to look like, albeit this one in a digital fashion, included below. This should be drawn to scale and include any existing structures and their setbacks on the property. More detailed requirements are also listed within your pre-application packet, and your planner can elaborate on that as well as send additional examples if needed.
Number 6 is the fire protection plan. This won't be applicable to everyone, but it may be required, and your assigned planner will indicate this on your packet if it is applicable. Certain subdivisions require sprinklers for all new habitable construction, and if required, you can either include this information in the ALA information form and or on the site plan. You could also submit it as its own written document or graphic kind of explaining how you're including your fire protection plan.
Next up is the non-subdivision water supply inquiry sheet. This is going to be applicable to you if your property is serviced by a well. It helps to provide additional information on that well status so that the planner is familiarized with how you're going to acquire water for this ALA.
Next, we have the floor plan. This can either be drawn or done in a digital format. Just please make sure that they're drawn to scale and labeled as the bedroom, the living area, and any egress you have for the doorways and the windows.
Next up is the owner and encumbrance document. This can be obtained through a title company. They essentially show us your legal description as well as any encumbrances or liens that may be listed on your parcels. We would require one for each parcel applicable in your process. This process usually just requiring one. And it is typically anywhere from $5 to $15 at the time of this recording. It doesn't necessarily have to be the title company that you use to acquire your property, but rather it could be one that offers the service.
And finally, the last two submittal requirements are already filled out for you in your packet. We just require these as proof that you met with the planner before applying and they wrote down exactly what they needed you to submit. So number 10 is the submittal checklist, which is the copy on the left. And then number 11 is the pre-application form, which will be pre-filled out by your planner. It gives some background information on your request as well as your setbacks, any notes that could be on the subdivision plat. If you have any questions about these, feel free to reach out. If anything looks incorrect, like the water and sewer, just let us know and we can correct it.
So this would be how to submit your requirements. We've included the email of our CERT team that we've talked about before in the bulk of this presentation. You would attach all of your submittal items in an individual PDF format to one email with your inquiry number for this project put in the subject line of that email. After applying, our CERT team will contact you for payment options, and there are two different options to be able to proceed with. One can be done via check, and this can be performed either in person or by mail, and then another by credit card. Do know that there's approximately a 3% processing fee for this to process it by credit card. This can be done in person or over the phone.
So once your application has been received by our administrative team, it'll be assigned to a planner who will be your point of contact. At first, they'll do a completeness check, and then we'll send it out to our referral agencies, which has a review time minimum of 21 days. It has been taking an average of about 2 months right now, so please keep that in mind whenever you're looking at the due dates online. The planner will compile your comments from the referral agencies, and you'll be required to respond to any of these comments if that's applicable. And your planner will let you know if any resubmittal is required. Following that, a decision will be made either administratively or at a public hearing, depending on your application type.
Here we have additional contact information for your ALA process, should they be applicable. If there's any floodplain implications, please contact our flood team, Tina Kurtz. If you have implications with your well or any well permits, our Division of Water Resources, not through Larimer County, but through the state would be your resource. Any septic questions to our Department of Public Health, and building and engineering are going to be accessible to you throughout this process as well. Do keep in notice that you will have to have a 500-foot public noticing requirement for this process. So your neighbors within 500 foot of your lot lines will be notified of your request and will be able to comment on your application.
And that's the end. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your assigned planner, but we look forward to working with you.